Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Papio Queen, thank you for coming through. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone. Peace and blessings. Y'all, it's been a minute since I, spoke on the topic of Brother Latruth and Brother Kevin, but we got to discuss some things. We just have to. Michelle, thank you for coming through, Queen. Now, I want to go ahead and get my disclaimer out for anybody that comes with opposing thoughts. Now, I am not against opposing thoughts, right? Pearly, but I said everybody be fair and be respectful of one another. We have different opinions. Brandy, thank you for coming through, Queen. Shout out to all of you guys coming through. Peace and blessings. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy for everyone to be here with me. Now, I'm chosen. Thank you for coming through, Queen. I have to speak on this. It's a very important topic for us to discuss. Utilize their voices to speak up about certain topics, and this one is very, very important and very dear. Children are very important. Okay, children are very, very important, right? I think that when it comes to the saga, there's been a lot of things based upon feelings and emotions, and wanting to cater to a specific side or a person, and I'm not okay with that, especially when it interferes with the well-being of children. Okay, and we just got to clarify some of these things. I'm going in and out, Pearly. It's better? Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm outside at my folks' house. So if it goes in and out, please forgive me, you guys. If you need me to repeat anything, I'll be sure of it. But y'all know we stand in defense against, the harm of children. I stand in defense against, anybody being lied on. I stand in defense of that, right? So this is the thing that I think is very important to me, especially when it comes to children, because we're talking about a community that needs to heal, break chains, have changes and everything. But if we keep catering to the behaviors or to unhealthy patterns, what are we changing? Okay, when a child is in any form, we are causing a damaged through, Queen. So I think that it's unjust, um, especially when it comes to children, for us to continue on as if, things aren't happening or things have not been done or people have not been shown of who they are. You get what I'm saying? And there's no way that anybody is trying to cease these things, change these things, or stop these things from happening. Right now, Brianna and Robert had a very toxic marriage. Correct? I think that's fair in the statement. Nobody wants to hear who they may be in favor of, right? Nobody wants to play that because, as soon as you say something as far as Robert's defense, then it's all hell fury. But they had a toxic relationship. They had an extreme toxic divorce, correct? Right, Pearly Queen. And but none of that has to do with the fact that, you know, Brianna's father is convicted of sexual acts towards minors, or and not only that, incest, right? So when it comes to this, regardless of whether it was 150,000 years ago, there are things that has to be set in place. for the sake of these children. Okay. And I don't think, yes, sis, yes, yes, queen. I don't think that that has been playing in because, it's a lot of adults tend to be extremely selfish. You get what I'm saying? Without the consideration of the bed that they have made for themselves, without the consideration of the care that they may have for others, you know? And I understand that he is the father of said children, right? But because of his prior actions, me personally, I think in all accountability, it should be something in his mindset to say, instead of placing my family in danger of being taken from, placed in the children's services, or you know what I'm saying, or anything of the sort, let me back away as an adult, as a man, as a father figure. See, that to me is a changed behavior. You get what I'm saying? And I wanted to come out and say this so bad because I don't understand how adults can go around and say, well, he may have changed or he's not doing the same thing. Here's how you know someone is not doing the same thing, because their patterns of behaviors, practices, anything of the sort has changed. And what I mean by that is you take accountability of your actions, you take accountability of anything that is held under your name, and you move accordingly, you move differently. And with that, that means let me back away from my babies, my grandbabies, for the safety of them, for their sake as an adult, because of my past behaviors. Let me back away, not run away from them as if you can't control yourself, because I'm not here to say that, right? But what I am here to say is let me back away for their safety. You get what I'm saying? Because this is a discussion now. And because of your past problems, because of your past decisions, you get what I'm saying? Your children are suffering the consequences because nobody is, it's like people are afraid to be the adult in the situations. You get what I'm saying? It's um it's because nobody you want to be an enabler because of bad behavior or lack of accountability that was taught to your offspring. So thus your grandbabies, they do the suffrage. You get what I'm saying? And 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 I don't think that it's okay for you to be in such close space with the children because of prior activities. You get what I'm saying? I think us as adults, we got to come to terms with reality, especially in the Black community. A lot of us have witnessed or heard about or even endured ourselves of past sexual assault treatments as children. Okay? What you say, Pearly Queen? I'm back on my phone again, so of course this share your referral link is in the way. It says, are you saying the grand I'm saying that the grandfather, Brianna's father, and I've been wanting to say this for a long time, but tensions are high, people emotions are just all over the place, but in all reality, we just got to get to the realness of it, right? Brianna's father should have no no business being so close and personal with those children. That's just my opinion. You get what I'm saying? And as a grandfather, because I don't have a problem placing myself in anybody's shoes, even though I know I would not do anything of the sort. But I know that being accountable means I will back away, right? Yes, the granddad, Miss Pearly Queen, the granddad has to back away because what you're doing is you're being selfish. You're not considering how, okay, this is the internet, right? And so on the internet, people can say and do whatever they so choose, just like they're making false accusations of Robert right now with his own children. But when we get offline, and if the school or if a neighbor gets the understanding of his past recording and is aware, and now these children, they will take those children out of Brianna's home. Terry King, thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through, Terry King. And they will take these children from out of the home. And then what would all of our selfishness of wanting to be around our family, what would it have been worth to lose our children into the system? And on the internet, they want to be in defense for this and say he may have changed, but then it's okay to make false accusations about Robert. To me, that's a bit extreme, you know? And um I feel like it's very inconsiderate, and in all honesty, it's not helping Brianna at all for anybody to be defending or enabling this idea and catering to the toxicity that she is creating. You get what I'm saying? That is not okay. Let me just say one thing real quick, because I came in here kind of strong, right? I don't play about babies, okay? I don't play about the babies. I don't care how young, I don't care how old. I do not play about the babies, okay? I don't care. I don't play about my babies. I don't play about y'all babies. I don't play about nobody children, okay? Rosalind, thank you for coming through, Queen. And so this topic right here, to me, is a timeout for playing sides. It's a timeout for wanting to cover up something just to make someone seem better, or, as if they're not as wrong, or whatever the case is. It's a timeout for it, because now the children are at hand, and they've been at hand for a while. Yes, they are. They are, Pearly Queen. It's the selfishness, but it continues. It continues in the community where you continue to cover stuff up. Most children are violated, sexually violated, either by the hands of a family member or a close family friend, right? So what we're dealing with is something that is not unfamiliar in the Black community. Okay. So we're not going to get on this internet and act like it's brand new and say that we're holier than thou, to a point where we can say where someone should be treated more harshly than another, when one person has been convicted and one person is being targeted. I don't agree with that. I find that to be completely distasteful, especially from a group of Black women. Our Black women are our major destruction device in our community, and it's quite evident on the internet. Latanya, thank you for coming through, Queen. Shout out to all of my beautiful people coming through. Peace and blessings to y'all. Thank y'all so much for the love and support. It really means a lot to me. Y'all don't know, I get really excited about that kind of stuff. But I like to share my perspective, and I think even if anybody, even if they don't feel it necessary, or they feel like it's invalid, so be it, right? But I have a voice just like everyone else, and I think that my voice can be utilized standing in defense for children. You get what I'm saying? And I understand that this is a family dynamic, and I know that it's a very sensitive thing. So I'm trying to be respectful and honorable, and try to hold some of my passion a little bit. But I have to address it. I have to say that enough is enough. It's time for everyone to just stop covering up the things that's been keeping us bound as a community of people. Robin, thank you for coming through, Queen. And this is one of the things that has been, tainting us, tainting our children. And see, what happens is when a little girl is sexually assaulted as a child and her innocence is taken from her by an adult figure in her life. You get what I'm saying? She grows up to have behaviors, or her mental development process has come to a halt. Then everybody finds a reason to complain. They call it fast, or they say that, she's doing this or she's doing that, and she's wrong and she's problematic, and all of these things. But we tend to find ourselves covering up the ones who caused the problem in the first place. We tend to enable the ones who need mental help in order to stop doing this craziness that they're doing to their own loved ones. Not saying that he has. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that he has been proven to do so. And the fact that he has been proven to do so, that determines how he should be in any other child's life. And that means completely absent. To me, that is completely absent. And even if he has deceased from his behaviors, he's not doing those things anymore. He cannot be held. His emotions about how he is treated thus forth from his own actions, he has no favor in it. Nobody should favor that, because it was your wrongdoings that has caused you to have to be accountable of self and depart ways. One thing about it, when you drop a glass on the ground, no matter how much you want to reform that glass, it never comes back the same, right? The glass is broken. It is damaged. And so now what we have to do is be accountable of the damaged glass. And if you truly love your family, your grandchildren, your daughter, what you would do as a grandfather is you would back away. You would not be living within the same home as them. You would not be babysitting. You would not be doing any of these things. Why? Not to say that you can't keep your hands to yourself, but to show that you are accountable for your past actions and that you do not want to interfere with the safety of their well-being. Because if children's services are to get involved, whether they can determine you have done anything to these children or not, just off of your record, you will lose them. Honey Thomas, thank you for coming through. Bless Beyond, thank you for coming through. Peace and blessings to you, beautiful queens. And see, it's the selfishness. It is the selfishness that keeps you around, even though you could lose, your daughter could lose her children, right? That's selfish. That is extremely selfish. How can anybody say that they care about their own family members if they know that what they're doing to their family can cause damage, can cause an interference in their lives? Sometimes you have to put your pride to the side and say, you know what, I messed up. I did something wrong. And he did something extremely wrong, not only to a minor, but to a family member. He's charged with incest. That means he's already been proven to do something to family member minors, right? So that means that he, in order to prove his name's sake, after such after something such as that, then he has to prove it by backing away completely. Back away. That is how you prove that you have changed. That is how you prove that you love them. That is how you prove that you are responsible. Okay? And I think that it's time out for a lot of the toxicity to sit here and place these accusations on Robert and to say that he's not deserving to be around his child. And not once has he been convicted of anything. And not only that, but he has been around Brianna's other children before his child was even born. And not one time has he had any of these faulty accusations. Not once. You mean to tell me that the internet has the right to persecute a man based upon a deceitful claim, but a man with an actual charge on him gets to walk freely amongst these very children? I'm just trying to make sense of this. I'm just trying to get an understanding as to why anybody think that this is okay. Are we defending Brianna? If you are defending Brianna, how? How are you defending her with that? By not being honest with her and letting her know that I know you may love your father despite his wrongdoings. But for the safety of your own children, especially with the highlight that you have going on in your life, don't you think that it is wisdom for you to maybe not go on excessive trips or to go out and do whatever the case may be? Maybe it's time for you to be around them and just let your father be distant. And wouldn't that be wisdom? Would you say, Pearly Queen? Right. Right, Queen. It is bull. It's wrong. It's wrong. But it shows the lack of accountability in both of them. I don't think that Robert needs to be beaten down the way he's been beaten down. And I'm back on the topic, y'all. I'm back today. And I know I backed away from the topic for a second, but I'm here. I'm here because, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? When are we going to get to the point where we say, okay, let's stop this nonsense. Let's stop investing so hard in trying to destroy a person because we dislike him or because we feel that Brianna is supposed to be, whatever the reasoning is. No, I don't think he had a problem with the father either, LaTanya Queen. I don't think he did. And I don't think that. I'll even say this, because we have family members that have done wrong, who aren't perfect. We even got family members who may have been on drugs and all kinds of the sort, right? We just got to be honest with it. But even though we love our family members, we have to know in wisdom how to move accordingly. I know that if I got a drug addict cousin, I can't let them hold my debit card. It said, what it said, a little confused because Robert didn't have a problem with the father being there when they was together. Granted, from my understanding, I think that he stated that he did not know or he was not aware, and I think he might have even asked Brianna, and Brianna stated that she stated that he wasn't. Yeah, right, Pearly Queen. He didn't know, and so I think. And that's the problem with the communication, because even if we're honest with each other, even if it hurts, Brandy, thank you for coming through, Queen. Even if it hurts us, y'all, we have to learn to become honest, Because look at the nonsense that's going on the internet. Now, if Brianna and Robert had that discussion prior to this entire situation, yes, she did. She denied it. Prior to this entire situation, then they could have moved accordingly. I don't think Robert would have allowed him to stay in their home. And if Brianna, if first of all, if the father even cared, he would not have stayed in their home. Not because he would have done anything to the children, but because he already know was titled under his name by law. And because he cares for his grandchildren, he would not have seen that to be wisdom to be in the home with them. And that's just the truth of it, y'all. And it has nothing to do with picking Brianna's side, picking Robert's side. It has everything to do with us as adults becoming accountable of ourselves. It has everything to do with us as adults being real, living in our reality, being realistic with ourselves, and not being so selfish and denying our children of their freedom. If children's services get involved, everybody gonna cry, because don't nobody want them children to be taken from them. So we have to consider that. And he did not consider that. He has not considered that. And neither has Brianna. And I think that's completely selfish. A Stokes, thank you for coming through, Queen. Says, I don't think he has a problem with the father. The issue is being alone with the kids. Most definitely. I don't think he has a problem with the father either. But even just being alone with the kids, you get what I'm saying? That's not wisdom. And he has been alone with those children. Not saying that he has done anything to those children. I repeat that. I am not placing that on him. But what I am saying is so that it can remove all doubt. Remove all doubt by removing yourself. That's what a great parent would do. Because they care about their children. Are we truly caring about our children if we're moving in selfish acts? If we're not considering the danger that we can place them in, and the children are completely unaware. They're not aware. That's not fair to them. Don't you think that that would be damaging to them? I think that that's completely wrong. Pearly says, I can believe that it's his actions that's the problem. Most definitely. You lose your right to be a part of the children's lives when you do harm and you commit dangerous acts to children. Period. Period. There's nothing different about that. You get what I'm saying? It never changes. And then and I think somebody says, well, he changed. He probably don't do that no more. Granted. And let's hope so. But let's be honest, in the Black community, most pedophiles, most predators never get caught. They never go to jail. They never get charged. Most of them do these acts to children throughout years. And even the ones who do get charged, they continue sometimes. Okay, so this is not to be against him necessarily, but this is to let us know that we have to change our behaviors in the Black community. We cannot just throw a cover over it and say, well, it's done. No, it is not done. It continues. And accountability for your past actions means that you will move accountably going forward. And that means that you will no longer do those things that you would have done if you weren't charged. You're charged. You have to live with your name. You have to live with that title. That is a title that you chose to create for yourself. Pearlie says granddaddy has a SA record with minors, period. I'm not playing Russian roulette with those conversations. Exactly. There is no rehab for exactly. There is none. So that is the absolute. We have to stop catering to these bad behaviors, this toxic trait, these toxic traditions in the Black community. It is time to make a change with change behaviors, with change responses. There is no rehab for pedo or incest. There is absolutely none. None. So what has to be done is, hey, we'll stop by, let you see him. Hey, how you doing? But you're never alone with them. You're never living in the home with them. You have to back away. That's it. That is all. Whether it be male or female, you have to back away from the children. And if you cared for their namesake, if you cared for their safety, you would do such. Because if a neighbor knows what's going on, because you already know they got the public list, right? You have to place your address. He has to go and place his address wherever he lives. He has to reinstate every year, right? So if a neighbor looks and sees your name on the list and they see you watching those children and they call the police and Brianna's not home, guess what? Those children, they're going to children's services, right? They're going to children's services. So who loses in the end? Who suffers the most? The children. The children suffer because of our own selfishness, because of our own lack of accountability, because of our own toxic behaviors, thinking that we can get away with things that we do so distastefully. And it's not okay. It is never okay to touch children. He skipped that by 2 years. It's insane, Pearlie. It's insane. What wasn't in effect, Pearlie Queen? What wasn't in effect? What was it? The list that wasn't in effect? I think, and it's our own traumas, because they'll say people heal the way they want to heal. People heal differently. People go through things differently. Fine. You have every right to heal and go through whatever you so choose on your own accord. But what should be law and understanding is that if you have been charged and convicted of any sexual acts towards minors and minor family children, like, this is just law all across the board. Show your accountability in your distance. Show your care and affect for them in your distance. Okay? To register? Oh, okay. Cause I know they put it on the site. They'll put their picture up and what level of sexual assault that they've been charged with and everything. And so even with that, once they see his face and they see his name, Walter, then they're gonna look and they're gonna see him in and out of that home with those children. And before you know it, gone. They're gone. They're taken from your daughter. They're taken from their family. Do you know how selfish that is? Yeah, she done put cameras in the house instead of you wouldn't need cameras in the house. You wouldn't need cameras in your home if you would just know that your home is the environment for your children first. This is your children's environment. And it's not for them to not like their father. It's not for them to dislike him. You get what I'm saying? But it's for the safety of their mental development, for their mental health, for them to not be tainted in any form. Children's services is a traumatic experience for children in itself. So even let's hope I'm speaking it, he never did anything to those children, right? But because someone sees him and they call children's services and those children have to leave with those strangers against the will of their family and their own, that right there is traumatic all by itself. All by itself, y'all. When are we going to care about the children? When are we going to care that they should not have to experience these things? And in order for them to not experience these things, we as adults, we have to move accordingly for that to be avoided. How hard is that? How hard is that? And I'm gonna cover another thing. What I hear about the paperwork at Momo's school, you get what I'm saying? To stop Robert from, being able to assess his own child at school. How can we say that somebody is a bad father if we're not giving them an opportunity to even show what type of father they are? I think Robert is a grandfather. He's a great father. You get what I'm saying? And it's not fair that we go ahead and make roadblocks for him to be a part of his own child's life so that when she grows older, we could come up with everything in the book telling them and painting this picture to show them that he's not a good father, when it was the mother that's creating these obstacles and painting this picture in the first place. What was the need to give that paperwork to the school for? What was the need for that? Why would we do anything like this to each other? At some point, we have to draw the line and understand, even though we cannot get along as adults, for the sake of the children, we will just not cross certain boundaries. It is not fair to the children that we cannot learn how to dispute or, we can even hate each other. I don't care. But don't let it interfere with the children. What did they do to deserve this? When you look at those babies and those innocent faces, we take away all of their innocence with our own selfishness and greed and trying to manipulate and taint them into seeing someone being something other than how they have portrayed themselves. It's absolutely disgusting. And it's not fair. And what you cause with these children, you cause resentment. They gain resentment towards you, especially when they come to discovery of truth. We got to get to a point where we're not entertaining things based upon our emotions or feeling like we have to win something or having to prove something to other people. Sometimes you got to let your ego go. Okay? And I know that this can be something challenging. It's challenging for me, but for the sake of the children, I think everybody should be able to put their ego to the side, because our children do not deserve our chaos, our drama, our problems. They have done nothing to deserve this, and yet they are reaping all of the effects, all of it, because we're not considering. They want to say, oh, Robert is this, Robert is that. Okay, fine. He toxic. Yeah, okay, so what? What does that have to do with the children? I tell you what he does not do, what he has not done. He has not falsely accused anybody of domestic violence. He has not tried to prohibit anybody from seeing their own children. He has not accused anybody of sexual assault to any minors. He has not done any of those things. He has not caused a lie on anybody's name in order to taint their character in such a foul manner. And to me, he get a thumbs up. Shout out to bro. Because the limits that people will go to make someone look a certain way, to destroy somebody's character. How can you hate somebody so bad? How? Him going to school ain't like he taking her from school. He just seeing her progress. Exactly, Pearly Queen. Carol, baby, thank you for coming through, Queen. Did you know you were live over here, girl? Yes. Yes, girl, I'm Queen. I'm live, Queen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all coming through too. Yes, cousin. Pearly Queen. I wanted to come out and speak about, because I haven't spoke on the topic in a while. Not to say that I went away from it, had to take a little moment, get some more of my content up a little bit. But this right here, I had to speak on it because I don't think that I fully spoke on it before, and I've always wanted to speak on it. So now the opportunity has presented itself. So here I am. And I just want to speak my piece on this. I think it's absolutely distasteful the way a bunch of adults are running rampant on the internet and not considering the effects that it will have on these children. And I think that is so sick. I think that it's so much noise going on that people can't even see, what they're participating in, what they're advocating, what they're standing in defense of. It is extremely disgusting that most of these adults will say they don't want nobody doing nothing to their babies or their grandbabies. You get what I'm saying? But they find every excuse in the world for how it's okay for another person to have their babies in this kind of environment. I don't care how much money Brianna likes to portray she has. I don't care what kind of home she has. I don't care. You can be in a mansion or you can live in a box under a bridge. It is never okay to place your children in known and potentially dangerous situations. It's not. It's just not. Yes, Queen, it is noisy, but I'm going to have to catch the replay because I'm on my scooter. All right, girl. All right, Queen. Yes, catch the replay. Shout out to the replay gang. I much appreciate y'all support too. Like, I really do. And I thank y'all so much for, coming through and supporting me. It really means a lot to me. We family over here always. And I've just hearing what's going on and the documents that have been coming out and a lot of the things that has been, taking place lately, I really wanted to speak on this because goodness gracious, most of my thought process, I like to do a lot of discussions based upon my thoughts as a child. Why? Because a child's mind is the purest, right? And so it's the greatest place where you can highlight where something extreme has happened or where something is devastating has occurred, and where you can see where the path changes or what roads you have crossed, right? And so when it comes to these traumatic events such as child molestation, CPS, sexual assault in any form, let me state that, toxic environments such as, adult differences in front of children, all of these things, not only are they the major questions in a child's thought process, but they also are the major answers as to how we can, change these things. We want our children to grow up to be better than us. We want our children to grow up to have more chances and more opportunities than us. We want to create a lifestyle that is better for our children than we have ever had. And me as a mother, it's not necessarily about the material. It's always been about the mental. You get what I'm saying? And this right here is a part of the mental. We have to stop giving our children toxic thought processes or toxic understandings or toxic events, allowing them the opportunity to be children. And so when you have CPS getting involved, when you're showing false documentations to the school, preventing your children to have an opportunity with their other parents, you get what I'm saying? You're causing traumatic events within their mental. And so through the developmental process, through their aging, growing up as adults, even if your plan for them, for your children to hate their father, they're still going to grow up with a limited thought process. And that's where you're not getting it. It's not clicking. Their success, you get what I'm saying, of how great they can go, how much their mind expands. You get what I'm saying? You have limited it. You have placed a limit on their mental because of your own selfishness. And so you think that you have the victory when really you do not. Because now, how grand they could have been in life, the chances that they will actually excel in it, you have placed a whole obstacle in that. And we all hope for the best, but good gracious. Danielle Queen, thank you for coming through. Thank you so much. Yes. I mean, I think it's a lot bigger than a lot of people, they try to envision it or even try to understand. You get what I'm saying? It's not fair to children to have to deal with the consequences of, just the lack of care of adults who have not mentally, choosing to, mature. You have to take out your selfishness, because just as much as Amora is Brianna's daughter, she is very much so Robert's daughter as well. And especially in our Black community, it always seems we have this idea of, the father can leave and the mother has the baby, and so we have this negative outlook on it. You get what I'm saying? Because for the most part, a lot of fathers probably do tend to lack in their fatherly duties. So we have a lot of trauma within that. But you know how you change this? You change this from the mental understanding of the children that you have, by not placing that negative impact onto their mental understanding. You get what I'm saying? If Robert is not a good father, then let Amora see it for herself, so that when she becomes an adult, she'll be able to determine how she goes about it. But from what I can see, Robert is a great father, and I think that Amora may agree with that. Okay? Momo may agree that she has a great father. You get what I'm saying? And they find everything to nitpick about him so bad. And I don't think that is fair, and it's not right. And I don't think that it's okay to place impressions on his children about him. That's not okay. All because of a failed relationship or because things do not go your way. You get what I'm saying? That is entirely selfish. It's disgusting. It's not okay to do this to our children. And because these are the curses that we have to break within our community, right? Our after we have the children, most relationships don't work out. We're not together. You know what I'm saying? So the children end up being in single parent homes. Okay, fine. You know, and my children are with me, and me and their father are separated. Never, never will paint a picture for my children to feel as if their father does not care about them or is not good to them, or make them feel as if they aren't to be safe around their father, especially if he has not proven himself to be that. If he is that, then it would not be anything for me to have to do. I wouldn't have to place any false documents into the system for him to not be able to come to the school. I wouldn't have to do these things because his own actions would show. And his actions have not shown based upon my perspective. If anybody disagrees, so be it. I am not jumping down your throat if you disagree. I'm just giving my perspective. And this is how I feel. Okay? He has not shown himself to be a bad father, not to his own, and not even to her children. Everybody is forgetting that when they were married, when he was there, and they can say, well, you don't know what happened in their home. Right, you don't either. None of us do, right? But based upon the information that has been placed on the internet, I have yet to see anything that has proven him to be a false parent. Not being a great so-called husband don't equal a bad father. Exactly, Pearly. He carried her in his sack first. Right. And see, that's another thing, Pearly Queen. Now you just hit that. And see, a lot of women, we don't want to admit it, but the truth of the matter is our children, they are the father's children. We are the carriers. But these are the father's children. They are their children, y'all. I think that understanding is not spread across enough for people to understand. These are the father's children. We are carrying their children for them. But these are their seeds. Like when you get that kind of understanding, then you can understand the type of hurt that you're placing on these men, especially those who are trying to be a part of their lives. Like, it's so distasteful to me. And we have sons, we have brothers, we have all of these male figures in our lives. But when it comes to our children's father, or when it comes to Robert, it seems like all of that understanding goes out of the door. And I'm sick of it. It's so disgusting to me. I am tired of that. Because I have a brother. And if anything like this was going on with my brother, oh my goodness. And so when I envision Robert, I envision him as my brother. And when I see all of this going on to my brother, it hurts. It is not okay for us to be mistreating someone, falsely accusing someone, based upon we don't like him, or we feel like he should do certain things a certain way, or we feel like he did this wrong, or we feel like he's all of these feel likes. That is the most ignorant thing ever to me. And it hurts the most because it's coming from us mothers, us sisters, us daughters, us women. Do you see how we become the greatest utensil in the destruction of our own people? And nobody's doing Brianna a favor by enabling this, because caring for Brianna would not be this. Caring for Brianna would let her know, don't send off those false documents. That's not okay. You're gonna get CPS involved. They're gonna take your baby from you. Don't have your father around him. I know he might love him, but he need to be in his own place, and you need to be accountable of finding another babysitter or whatever the case may be. That is love for Brianna. That is something that she needs to hear. And if she refuses to hear it, then she needs to suffer. Nobody else. And I wouldn't wish suffrage on anyone. I think it is purely disgusting. But she has to be at her own faults at some point. Yes, Pearly. People can have an opinion, most definitely. Let me see. I can't. This share link is just in the way, y'all. Type 100, Queen, so I can see your comment. And thank you so much for supporting me, Queen. It really means a lot to me. I mean, we have to stop, because how many of these adults say, well, I was a victim. I went through this. I went through that. And then they'll turn around and say, and I turned out fine. And that may be the case if you turned out fine. But wouldn't you want the children to turn out better than you? It says people can have an opinion, but projecting the lies is crazy. Exactly, Queen. Exactly. Wouldn't you want your children or anybody's children to turn out better than we did? See, this is the crazy thing about it. The fact that we're even having this topic of discussion should let us as a whole know that we need to improve, that we are so low right now. This right here shouldn't even be a thing. But the fact that it is, and not enough people see that this is a problem. It's sick. And the way that you go about changing this is changing the environment and the behaviors for your children. If you know better, you do better. Isn't that the statement? Twin girl, thank you for coming through, Queen. It's so crazy to me that they'll say, well, I had this happen to me in my childhood, and I don't want to discuss these things and stuff like that. But it's okay to cover it up. That's crazy. Her consequences will be her own. If she didn't do stuff, he wouldn't have a case. Exactly, Queen. Exactly. If you become accountable for your actions, then you won't have consequences to endure. And I think that it's completely, yo, like for real. It makes me real sad because, just envision, y'all, these is mamas and grandmas and aunties out here tearing down this black man and enabling toxic behaviors from this beautiful black woman. That's extreme to me. That is extreme to me. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever that we would do this to each other in the name of caring about somebody. How can you care for somebody if you are rooting them on for them to destroy themselves in their lives, to destroy their children's lives? What is that? And they say, she's not destroying her children's lives. Are you sure? Make sure you're correct on that. Pearly says, these people don't know how to separate relationships from parenting. Sick. Exactly. You're right, Queen. You are right. And here's the first understanding that people have to understand. We are all characters in each other's lives. And we have our own identity. And so does your children. And so everything that you do in your child's life, consider how their own identity may be impressed on that. Don't do it with just your own selfishness, but do it with the inclusion of how they may feel or understand it. Be fair to them. And so, thus, they will be able to identify themselves properly. Yes, it's sad at this point they are not looking out for the children exactly, Queen. They're not. And this is one of the main reasons why I started to go back to school for behavior health with an emphasis on trauma. Because when you get to the root and you understand that the environment that a baby is raised in is the total, it is the absolute cause and effect of how that baby partakes in its adulthood, then you start to see how crucial it is for you to be more um purposeful with the way you go about things with them. Babies, children, you have to be gentle, not just physically, but mentally. You have to be gentle. You have to know that every moment, every step of their childhood it's very important to how they process life. You don't want any more child predators. You don't want any more, robbers. You don't want any more gang violence. You don't want any more prostitutes. You don't want any more of these things. Well, how you can help to decrease that is definitely how you go about the raising of your children and their mental safety. And what is being displayed on this internet is sick. And it's the very evidence of how a lot of us have been missed in our childhood development. Or not in some cases, even if we were missed, how some of us are not even aware of the healing and the maturity and the growth that we need. And I ain't gonna hold y'all forever, but I just wanted to get my point across because it's so frustrating to me, man. It's so frustrating to me. The way we just carrying on the internet. Acting foolish and distasteful. Saying and literally doing anything to go back and forth with one another. To try to prove to be the better person. In all reality, our children are losing. Our children are losing because we're just refusing to see ourselves in this disgust. We want good men in our community. We want to have good fathers. We want to have, great examples for our children. But look what we do. Look what we're doing. Look what's being done to Robert. Robert don't sell no drugs. Robert ain't robbing no banks. You get what I'm saying? But you tear them down. Like, goodness gracious. The decent men in our lives or in the internet, you just destroy them to the core and no limits. You seek to destroy them even through their children. And they'll be the main ones to say men ain't shit. Well, look what you done did to the men. You are showing right now what you are doing to the men in your own community by doing it to the very ones on the internet. None of them live next to Robert whatsoever. But look what's being done to him. So I could just imagine what the men around us feel like. It is, Queen. It's shameful. We don't have no shame and no guilt taking on the hurt that somebody else has done to us and placing all of that blame onto somebody else. Be mad at the predator that sought you and stop trying to convince somebody else of being the predator. And they have never preyed upon you. The faults of somebody else is not Robert's bear, is not his cross to bear. He didn't do anything to these women for them to falsely accuse him of something so distasteful. Well, I don't like the way he did this. I don't like the way he did that. And he's not a perfect person. Nobody's perfect. He who has sinned not cast the first stone. Ain't that's what Jesus said? He ain't perfect. Ain't nobody telling him that he is. But what he is not is everything you trying to accuse him of or treat him as. But the very man that's been charged, oh, that was years ago, we can forgive. Well, if you can forgive that, then I don't think you have a problem with leaving Robert alone. Because he ain't been charged whatsoever for none of the accusations, not even domestic violence. But I don't work myself up. I really appreciate y'all for coming through. I wanted to say my piece. I wanted to give that piece today, even though, I usually try to keep up this day and time, and I felt like this was a good opportunity. So I'll come back to you guys with some more information. If y'all want to keep talking about the subject, that's fine. And if anybody has opposing thoughts, I have no problem with speaking about the opposing thoughts. I will not disrespect you. I hope that you do not do the same to me, because this is all love. And even though my opinion is very strong based, it is not to offend. It is just to state my own opinions. I feel like everybody has a right to it. And if you feel like my platform is not being just to your opinion, I truly encourage everyone to utilize their own. Okay? We don't have to damage each other for it. We are all adults. We all should behave like one, and we all should hold each other to a certain standard. If I'm not placing false accusations on you, don't place none on me. And if Robert's not placing false accusations on you, don't place none on him, and don't participate with anybody who's doing the such. And if you heard anything, please do your due diligence in researching before you agree. Okay? All of you, thank y'all. And y'all